I'll click that OK. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Peter Weiler, and I'm going to be your host this afternoon to the February 17th, 2026 DVMUG Zoom meeting. And you are very welcome. We will follow our usual format, which is to initially take a look at Apple news that's kind of current for this week. And following that, I've selected a series of short videos. You can see the names on the screen right now. Um, and then there will be a question and answer period in which any of you who might have some problems with your phone or your computer are welcome to ask questions, and the real techie people in the group will probably be able to help you. So let's go ahead and get started with this week's news. There are listings of the news articles as well as the videos for this week in, in the chat. John Sobrero was kind enough to get them there. And so we will be starting with the Federal Trade Center warning. The FTC chair warns Apple against bias in Apple News. You'll notice there's a URL at the bottom, a link, and these URLs, you can type them into your browser or click on them, and they will go to the full articles. We'll just be looking at summaries of these things. So if you'd like to know more, check out the links. This was reported by Celia Kang of the New York Times. Um, Andrew Ferguson, the Federal Trade Commission chairman, has contacted Tim Cook by letter, noting that, let's see if I can get rid of this thing here. Sorry. Yeah, something blocking my screen. And eh, now we're having a little problem going backward. I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay. At any rate, Mr. Ferguson from the Media Research Center News, he was reading that Apple News has been censoring conservative news sources. And this is the Media Research Center is well, a conservative watchdog organization. At any rate, uh, there tends to be a lot of politics in these kinds of things. And Mr. Ferguson was appointed by President Trump in 2025 and um, might feel more concerned about what he sees as conservative. At any rate, are there any comments or questions? Okay, moving on. Apple's music playlist Playground among the first new AI features in iOS 24. Ah, I can't believe this. I'm sorry. Okay, iOS 26.4. So Apple has been a little bit tardy in throwing together AI into Siri and getting more advanced kinds of features going. But uh, this is new, and this is something that'll be part of iOS 26.4, the Playlist Playground feature. So users can generate playlists using text prompts or selecting songs, and AI will help put together their song lists and so forth. So this is a beginning, and iOS 26.4 isn't out right now, but it will be in March, hopefully, and we'll see how that works. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, I've never heard of a playlist playground, but I've never subscribed to Apple Music until just recently, and it's kind of a mystifying application. I'm finding it intimidating and um, trying to manage it. But what does a playground do?
I have never encountered it myself, and I
Oh,
can't tell you that. In fact, I don't even know if it's functioning at this point.
I
yeah.
I can answer that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
It gives you the ability to describe the kind of music that you would like to hear, and using artificial intelligence, it will put together a playlist according to those specifications.
Yeah, I've got 26.4 that I just loaded. How would I access it?
I believe it's only on the phone,
Oh, okay.
and you go to playlists under Apple Music, and at the bottom there's a button that lets you enter a text description.
But it's not available on the Mac then, huh?
Uh, no, it's so far it's just on the phone.
Gotcha. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on. So Apple announces an unusual multi-city Apple experience, in quotes, for March 4th.
Excuse me, Peter.
Yes.
I'd like to make a comment on the AI that you were talking about previously.
Okay.
I had mine on mute, so I couldn't hear me. So my comment is what I've seen with AI. I haven't seen any benefit to myself versus making things harder. You know, I've seen try to make an order online, and he said he just got an AI designed website. It took 25 minutes just to get my order through. That before I could just put it in online, and it was done in less than 5 minutes. And he was telling me all the benefits it seemed to have. I said, well, I'm not sure about the benefits you're getting, but me as a consumer on the other end, AI is not helping me with your website or making my purchase. So some of the things I've seen with AI have little be desired. So I'm not sure about this one with the playlist. I'm wondering why someone wouldn't just put in what type of genre they liked in music and then select from that versus relying on an AI to do it for them.
Yeah, right. Well,
Good point.
it's a good point. The technology is very new, and I think it's going to take a while for the promoters of it to come up with really helpful stuff and for us users to really figure out how to make it work. Apple's been good in the past at making new technology more or less seamless to use and intuitive. Um, this is a new ground, though.
Plus, it seems to be, I know it's in its new phase, but or stages, but it seems to be where it's relieving people from personal accountability for when they're making errors because they'll blame it on AI or the computer or some other reason. Like when you go to a checker and they don't even know how to add or subtract and figure out a bill when you try to explain to them that it's an incorrect total at the bill, and they're asking you to underpay by $30, and they can't figure it out what the receipt is when you can just bring out a piece of paper and show them the difference, and they're still going, but the register tells me differently. So it seems to be making
Well,
it worse for people to be competent and in addition to that accountable when they're doing things. I've
we've
noticed that with the GPS. Before we had landmarks and you're going along and you knew exactly where you're driving. Now people are looking at their GPS and they try to figure out how to get around, and without the GPS they're lost.
we've found artificial intelligence very useful for travel. Like, say you take a midweek short trip to an area you've never been, and you describe very carefully what your limitations are, and that you'd like to have an itinerary set up of things to do and places to see. And it's amazing how comprehensive the response is through AI.
Yeah, I've run a scenario of Chat GPT, for a destination of that sort. And I agree with you, Rick. But yeah, it's new ground, and we're all learning how to use it, and sometimes it works well for us, and sometimes not.
Without AI, has anybody noticed the difference between just doing a simple search on with Google? When you put it in, you'll even put a quotation marks what you want it to narrow it down, and you're looking for something maybe for a water pump for a Ford, and you're specific, and it sends you to a bicycle seat or something, and you're going, this is related to what I'm looking for. And it seemed like earlier times it was so much easier, and not having all the pop-up ads or everything come up to try to take you off in a different direction. Because now I'm seeing with the AI, what's this new thing they have that Google has? I started writing an email, and they said, would you like me to write the letter for you? I said, no, I'd like you to get off my page so I can continue writing my email.
I hear you.
Can't you disable the
Well,
AI on your laptop or whatever?
I don't know how to do that with the new Google, because I've had friends saying the same thing, that it's popping up. I forgot the name of it, that comes on and it wants to do your, not only write your letter for you, but it wants to keep a summary of what you wrote. And I thought some of these things you'd like to have private, so someone else isn't in there saying, we'll summarize it and keep it in our archives of what you've been writing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to find out if there's a way to disable it, because if there's uses that I can benefit from, then I could sign up at that time. But if I want to disable it, that'd be nice too.
I hate to say this, maybe you could Google it.
Yeah. my thoughts too. Give it a try.
It's
that often
one of those
works.
things. It's like, I know, like you mentioned the GPS. I mean, I've got a sister who can't handle GPS at all. She has to look at it and she prints out directions and all this kind of stuff. I've gotten so used to it. It's like you know, hit maps, hit go there, and it says, okay, go through this light, the next one turn right, and everything else. I don't even pay attention to where I'm going anymore.
Yeah, sometimes my GPS works, but at other times I'll find it takes me all over town and brings me right back to where I started. And I'm going, something's missing on this program. And I hear from other people, yeah, certain addresses just aren't working. So I understand there's limitations for everything.
I mean,
let's move
go
on.
ahead. Let's go ahead and move on, guys.
Okay.
Keep your questions till the question and answer
Yeah,
session.
actually, some of these subjects would be really good in the Q&A part.
Okay, I just thought when Peter asked if there were any comments or questions, that was appropriate.
Oh, no.
I'll wait till the end.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
it's all good. At any rate, and the next article is about an unusual multi-city Apple experience on March 4th. And Apple is holding these in 3 cities, New York, London, and Shanghai. And the format they figure is to be able to reach out to more journalists. Adam Engst, who writes the article in Tidbits, speculates that they're probably going to be talking about a new low-cost MacBook or iPhone or some upgrades, but it's going to be a smaller kind of deal than the keynotes that we are used to in the past. Let's go on to the next one then. So, Tahoe 26.4, Mac OS, is warning your apps won't work when Rosetta 2 dies. And these, of course, would be apps that run on the Intel processor. And at any rate, there is a crunch time coming. Malcolm Owen of Apple Insider writes about how in Mac OS 28, they're removing support for Rosetta altogether. And in Mac OS 27, it will run on Apple Silicon Macs, but not on Intel. So if you are still using an Intel Mac, you have a year or so to update your apps and get things compatible. Are there any comments or questions? Okay. So iOS 26.4 will activate key theft prevention feature on all iPhones. Have many of you heard of this before? Because actually the key theft prevention feature has been on um, the Mac OS for a while. It requires um, biometric authentication. That could be putting your finger on the button or face recognition to perform certain kinds of things on your iPhone. And it in the past, it's been entirely opt-in. It's not just placed into the OS, but they're going to start actually creating the OS with it enabled. And if it causes you problems, you will be able to disable the feature. Any comments or questions? Okay, and I didn't mean to cut off comments as we were moving through those. But at any rate, let us continue. It's time for the video part of the program, and we're going to, here's the slide for that. We're going to start with one by Gary Rosenzweig, and this is longer than videos that I tend to choose for our program, but I feel it's really important because Pages and Numbers and Keynote, I've used all three a lot in the past and will continue to do so. But now they're going to be bundled up in the Apple Creator Studio. And so that creates potential issues. So let's play the video.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Here's what to do if you don't want the Apple Creator Studio subscription, but you still want to keep using Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. So let's say that you've determined that the Apple Creator Studio subscription isn't for you. You don't use Final Cut Pro, Logic, or Pixelmator Pro, but you do use Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. There are some new things for those and access to things like Content Hub, but if you feel you don't need those things, you can continue using those three apps. You can use them completely free, just as you have been for years. But now there are two versions of each one of those apps. Which one should you get? And what else should you do if you don't plan on having a subscription? So when you go to the App Store and you search for Pages, Numbers, or Keynote, you'll come up with the new versions of them. You'll see the new icons for each here. You won't find the old versions. But if you were to download any of those, you would notice that your old versions still remain on your Mac. They're separate apps. Here you could see in the dock, I've got two versions of Pages, two versions of Numbers, and two versions of Keynote. If I look in my applications folder, I can see the two versions there. If I check this one, the old version of Pages, you could see under name and extension in the info window, it's called pages.app. But if I check this one and bring up the info window, you could see it's called Pages Creator Studio.app. But the short name for both is just Pages. So I've got both apps there. Which one should I use? They do look a little different. For instance, here is the old version of Pages. You could see the style of the toolbar and the sidebar there. Here's the new version of Pages, and you can see how the toolbar and sidebar look different. Here they are side by side, so you can compare them. The functionality is the same, but you have the newer look present in macOS Tahoe with the newer version of Pages, and the older look from macOS Sequoia with the older version of Pages. The newer one is Pages 15.1. The older one is Pages 14.5. Now, if you're not going to have a subscription to Apple Creator Studio, then right now, as of February 2026, they both are identical in features. They just have different looks to them. One notable difference, though, is when you go to choose a template. You can see the old 14.5 version just gives you templates here. You just see all the basic templates, and that's it. But in 15.1, there are two differences. One is you have got more templates. All of the new ones are listed under Premium here or interspersed throughout all the different categories. You can tell which ones are new because they've got the little symbol here at the top right, whereas the ones that were previously available don't have that symbol. But all the non-premium templates are the same between the two versions. It's only with the new version that you get the new templates, and that's only if you've got a subscription. So in other words, you have the same templates with no subscription, no matter which version you use. But if you're using the new version 15.1 and you select all templates, then at the top, you get this promotion for Apple Creator Studio. You don't have to click on it or use it for anything. You can just scroll past it. But I know some people will be annoyed by that. And the same is true if you look at Numbers 14.5 using the old Sequoia style elements, and you don't see a promotion. And then if you look at 15.1, you'll see the same thing here with the promotion at the top of all templates. But then if you look through the templates, you'll see ones without the symbol at the top right. Those are available in both versions. And you'll see ones with the symbol available at the top right, showing that they're premium ones that you need the subscription for. And it's the same with Keynote as well. If you don't have a subscription, then the new version gives you a promo for the premium templates, and the premium templates are visible even though you can't use them. So if you don't plan on getting Apple Creator Studio subscription, what should you do? Should you just stick with the older apps, or should you get the newer apps? I think you should get the newer apps. With the newer apps, at least you get the newer look, and it certainly appears like those will be the ones that will be updated in the future. We don't know if we'll actually get any new features, but there may be some bug fixes, some performance enhancements, and maybe some minor things that are added at some point. But also, you get a unified look between those apps and any other apps you may be using on your Mac. So if you do that, if you get the new apps, should you delete the old apps? The notification that you get on the screen seems to suggest that you should, but you don't have to, and there's no rush to do so. You can just leave the old Pages, Numbers, and Keynote apps there on your Mac and don't use them. I suppose one reason to keep them there is maybe some document you open in the new app doesn't look quite right or has some sort of issue. You can always go back to open it in the old app. I haven't run across or heard about anything like that, but I suppose it's possible. And with no real good reason to delete the old apps right now, I would just keep them around for a while. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 2,000 others that support MacMost through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Now, if you don't plan to get the subscription, another thing you may want to do is get rid of some of the buttons here in the toolbar. If you look at the buttons that are in purple, if you click on those are Apple Creator Studio features like generating images, upscaling, and accessing Content Hub. You can actually take these out of the toolbar completely if you like. Just go to View and then scroll down to Customize Toolbar. You can also control click in the toolbar and choose Customize Toolbar. And then you can drag these down and out to get rid of them like that. This leaves an extra spacer there. You can get rid of that. And you can get rid of this one as well. I'm actually going to leave this one here, and I'll show you why in a second. So you can get rid of those buttons, maybe add some other useful ones back up if you like. If you ever want to revert to the default set, just drag the default set like that back up to the top. So now you've gotten those useless buttons out of the way. The reason I didn't get rid of Content Hub like this is because while I can't use any of the photos, the graphics, or the backgrounds, because those are all part of Apple Creator Studio, I can use the shapes. In fact, Apple has placed all of the shapes from the previous version under this. So if you want to, for instance, use one of these shapes here, like animals or symbols or different things, then you would need that button to get to it. But you can still get rid of this because the Shapes button here, while giving you access to your most recently used shapes, you can see one of them here, also the text box and line and all of that, you've got Browse Content Hub at the bottom here. So getting rid of this one still allows you to have access to the shapes by clicking there. In fact, using this button takes you directly to the Shapes section there. So you don't have to be bothered to see all the other things that you can't use. And you could do the same thing for the other apps. So for instance, Keynote's got a bunch of different buttons up here for generate slides from text, generate presenter notes, automatically fix styling and formatting, and then the AI image generation stuff here, Content Hub, and there's the increased resolution. if I customize the toolbar, I could get rid of all of those by dragging them out like that, get rid of this extra spacer as well. And now I don't have any of those features in the toolbar. And the same thing here for numbers. You can customize the toolbar here, get rid of these extra elements like that. You can still access the shapes, by making shapes and browse content, and all the shapes are available without a subscription. But what about all the extra templates and the promo for templates? If I go to File, New, is there any way to get rid of this? And unfortunately, right now, there isn't. Hopefully, Apple will add something in the future like they've done for the music app, so it won't bother you with this. But for now, you're stuck with it when you look at this screen. But you don't always have to look at this screen. You can change things in Pages settings under General. There's a setting here for new documents to show the template chooser or use a specific template. And you can select the template you want. So if you always find that you're using the blank template, or maybe one of the other templates, or maybe one that you have created, then you could choose that. It sets it up like this. And now when you create a new document with File, New, it just creates a new document using that template. For most Pages users, this is exactly what you want anyway. You're probably always starting with the same template. I know for me, I'm always starting with this blank template here. If you do want to use one of the templates, you can still go to File and then New, but hold the Option key down. And that changes to New from Template Chooser, Option Command N. And that will take you back here where you will see the promo, but only at a point where you're looking for a specific template. The same is true for the other apps. In Keynote, under Settings, you can change to Show Theme Chooser or Use Theme. And here are numbers as well. Under Numbers Settings, you've got Use Template. You can select the template right there. Now, Numbers actually has one special Apple Creator Studio subscription trick that comes up in a situation like this, where it can try to predict what comes in the cell here. If you double click it to type into it, it will suggest magic fill the whole column or just the magic fill suggestion here. And technically, you shouldn't be able to use this without an Apple Creator Studio subscription, but it works for the individual cell at least. But if you try to do magic fill column here, it will give you a preview of it. And if you say accept, then it says that you need a subscription. If you rather not see this here, then you could go to Numbers Settings and you could turn off Show Suggestions when editing table cells. The only problem is you'll also miss out on other suggestions. Like for instance, here, if I were to type, you could see it suggesting from the values above. That's a normal suggestion. So you'll miss out on that as well. But I find you really need to be in a situation like this for it to even suggest magic fill. And even when it does, you can just completely ignore it or take advantage of the fact that you can use the one-off selection right there. Now, one reason you may need to stick with the older 14.5 versions of Pages, Numbers, and Keynote is if your Mac is not able to use the 15.1 versions. Now, the App Store says that all you need is macOS 15.6 or newer to run it, and they are universal apps, so they should run on Intel Macs as well. But I suppose it could still be possible to have an old version of macOS on an older Mac support the newer versions. And if so, you would find out when you try to install them from the App Store. But otherwise, you should definitely get the 3 new apps. You should try them out and probably plan on using those without the Apple Creator Studio subscription moving forward. If you really don't like the promo on the template screen, or you don't like the fact that there are buttons in the toolbar that don't apply to you, then consider sending feedback to Apple, asking them for a switch to turn those off. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Want to know about?
Oh, Gary just gets so much content into his work. Any questions or?
Did anybody see that it's choppy and the voice are choppy, or is that just me?
No, I did
Terrible. It
too.
was terrible.
Yeah,
Let's hope it goes away.
Really?
yeah. Okay, I just wonder if it was me.
Is everybody getting it choppy?
Yes, I was.
Same problem with Peter's voice as he talks, actually.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try a different direct line into my router,
Uh,
but
let
I'll
me,
get another video going first.
can I
So,
comment on one more
sure,
thing?
sure, go ahead.
Um, I read on Apple Insider, there is a chat going on regarding the new upgrade to the Creator Studio, and they mentioned one thing that I need to figure out is that if you have both the old uh, documents and you're going to create a new one, you can't copy between one or the other.
What?
Um,
Huh?
my question is, I do extensive spreadsheets, and what I do is copy a spreadsheet and rename it and then copy. And I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to do that. The reason I'm saying this is because there's multiple people writing about that, and they actually found out that that's true. You cannot copy between the new document and the old one.
You need to watch. Gary did another extensive video that's really long about that fact, about he tested taking a document from one version and opening it in the newer version and going back and forth, and he found he could not create a problem. So go watch
Uh,
that.
okay, thank you.
I've had the same problem.
It's
Oh,
not, Gary didn't say copying and pasting. He said opening documents created in one and then opening them in the other. He didn't find any problem.
huh.
John, do you have the access to that link to this specific
No,
video?
not offhand. Just go to macmost.com and do a quick search for Creative Studio or whatever.
Okay.
It was within the last since it came out. It's only within the last month.
Okay, thank you.
Well, okay, I'm gonna start the next video and try to do some first aid here to see if I can get a better signal. But for the time being, hopefully this will work adequately. Ah.
Hi, everyone. If we haven't met, I'm Ellen from Ellen's Tips for iOS. And the question this week is, have you ever opened the Settings app and thought, where in the world is that option? Today, I'm going to show you one of the fastest and easiest ways to find any setting on your iPhone using the built-in search feature in Settings. Let's get started. First, let's open the Settings app, which is this gray gear icon. And you'll notice at the very bottom, you'll see a search bar. If you don't see that, you may be on an older version of iOS, and you'll need to slightly pull down on your screen, and the search bar will appear at the top. Tap in the search field, you'll see the cursor appear, and begin typing what you're looking for. You don't need to type the whole word. You just need to put in a few letters. So let's look at some real world examples. Let's start by typing in Wi-Fi. And you'll see that all of the settings available for Wi-Fi appear. If you're having trouble connecting to the internet, I would just tap into Wi-Fi. And now you'll see you're instantly taking to all of your Wi-Fi settings. And why this helps is because you don't have to scroll through any menus. Another example, if text on your iPhone feels too small, you can search for text size or display. So let me hit the back button to come back into the search area. I'll hit the X where it says Wi-Fi, and here I'll tap or I'll type in text, and you'll see that display and text size appears. I can go ahead and tap on that, And all of the display and text size options appear. So if you want your text to be bold, you can toggle that on. If you want larger text, you can come in here and start to increase the text size. This is one of my favorite tips for seniors because it makes it quick and easy to configure your iPhone exactly as you want it. Accessibility settings are incredibly helpful, but they're buried deep in the Settings app. So let's just search for accessibility. And you'll see that it appears instantly on your screen. I can tap into accessibility and you can find things like voiceover, Zoom, hearing features. So it's a quick and easy way to access the settings you need. If your phone is constantly buzzing with notifications, you can go ahead and search for notifications. You'll see it appears. You can then quickly control your alerts, sounds, and which apps you allow to notify you. Here's a great trick many people don't know. You can search for an app name. So if I search for mail and I tap into it, you'll jump straight to the mail app settings. You can do this with messages, basically with any apps that you have on your phone that you want to get to their particular settings. If you ever need to change or review your passcode, tap into search, begin typing passcode. You'll see Face ID and passcode appear or change passcode. You have a few options. I'm just going to go to Face ID and passcode, and this takes you right to the Face ID or Touch IDs option. You enter your passcode, and here you'll be able to do whatever you need to do, whether it's change the passcode, turn it off, whatever you need is available in the passcode settings. This is so helpful because instead of scrolling through long lists, search takes you exactly where you want to go. It saves time, reduces frustration, and makes using your iPhone much easier. Now you know how to quickly find any setting on your iPhone without the frustration. Just remember, you don't need to type in the full word. You can type in a few letters and hopefully the setting will appear. Or if you aren't finding the setting you want, try a similar word. If this tip helped you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Ellen's
Okay.
video, that video had no problem for me.
I've gone ahead and gotten a different Ethernet cable connected, so hopefully it's working correctly now.
It wasn't a problem as soon as you started playing it. When you started walking away, it was no problem anytime. So,
Okay, well, good. Good. We'll leave things as they are.
I'll leave it for me.
I assume everybody else is getting the signal well, I hope. Are there any comments on Ellen's tips, or shall we move on? Okay, let's go to the next.
7 products, 1 event, and a rare moment where Apple's usually secretive spring plans are coming into focus. Multiple reports point to Apple lining up a packed March 2026 event centered on aggressive, budget-focused hardware. Leading the lineup is the M5 MacBook Air, expected in early March according to ad partners and analysts, which aligns perfectly with Apple's past behavior of releasing the Air after new MacBook Pros. The design stays unchanged with the same 13-inch display, but the upgrade that matters is the M5 chip. Based on real-world performance already seen in the base M5 MacBook Pro, this chip delivers major gains in ray tracing, AI workloads, video encoding, and single-core speed. Reports suggest up to twice as fast video rendering, noticeably faster web performance, and a smoother overall experience. The iPad lineup may see a surprise. Recent code suggests the 12th generation iPad could jump directly to the A19 chip, the same one used in the iPhone 17 instead of the expected A18. If launched, this would be unprecedented for Apple's budget iPad, bringing massive gains over the current A16 model, including large jumps in CPU, GPU, and gaming performance. Leaks also point to 8 gigabytes of RAM and possibly Apple's N1 Wi-Fi 7 chip. That said, some sources claim Apple may skip this model entirely to push buyers toward another iPad arriving at the same event. Apple's most important mass market device may be the iPhone 17e leaks, and internal code suggests it gets the A19 chip. The new 18 megapixel center stage selfie camera from the iPhone 17 lineup, thinner bezels, and a switch from the notch to dynamic island. The display remains 6.1 inches, but visually, it would look far closer to a pro-level iPhone than any previous E model. Despite all that, rumors say the price holds at $599, which would almost certainly make it the best-selling phone of 2026. Another major shakeup comes from a rumored 12-inch budget MacBook revival. Recent references leaked code for a new model codenamed J700 running macOS 26.3. Performance leaks suggest an A18 Pro, delivering class-leading single-core speed and multi-core performance rivaling or beating older M-series Macs. It could ship with 8 gigabytes of RAM, optional 16 gigabytes, fun color options, and unprecedented battery life, all at around $599. Rounding to things out, leaks point to an M4 iPad Air with no design changes, just a jump to the M4 chip and possible Wi-Fi 7 via the N1 wireless chip, plus a HomePod Mini 2 powered by the S10 chip for faster, more reliable Siri responses. The Apple TV 4K refresh appears delayed until April, reportedly tied to next-generation and Apple Intelligence features. If the leaks are accurate, Apple's March 2026 event should land in early March, with pricing starting around $599 for the iPhone 17e and the new budget MacBook, while premium devices scale upward from there.
Okay. That was from 9 to 9 Trends on the March Apple event. I'm not sure if that's the one happening on the 4th or if it's a few days later.
No, it's certainly not going to be all that. With the way they're doing this rollout on the 4th, it's not going to be all this stuff. Or else they would have had a keynote with a, worldwide live, but they're not.
Right. As I was assembling videos for this meeting, there are a large number of Apple leaks and trends and speculation type videos. And so anyway, I won't bother you with another one of those, at least not today. Anything else?
I have one question, but I'm not sure you can answer it. I'm not sure anybody can answer it. I've noticed in the last few generations of new equipment that they use a term called ray tracing. And I have no clue what ray tracing is.
And I do not either.
Well, we're even.
Okay. The next video is by Apple support on transferring to a new Mac with Migrant Assistant. So for any of you who are upgrading, maybe from an Intel or even from a Silicon Mac, this shows you how it can be done easily.
Migration Assistant makes a copy of important content like your browser bookmarks, files, contacts, calendars, and photos to transfer from your old Mac to your new one. Here's how to transfer your data. Before you start, you'll need the administrator password for your old Mac. Make sure both your old Mac and your new Mac are connected to power and near each other. If antivirus, firewall, or VPN software is in use on either Mac, turn off that software until you're done. Both devices should also be connected to the same Wi-Fi network. To get started, Turn on your new Mac and begin setting it up. During the setup process, Migration Assistant appears and you'll be asked how you want to transfer your data. Select from a Mac, Time Machine, or Startup Disk and click Continue. Then select a Wi-Fi network and click Continue. Enter the password for the network you chose and click Join. On your old Mac, make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi network and open Migration Assistant. To find it, click the spotlight icon in the menu bar, start typing Migration Assistant, and press the Return key on your keyboard to open it. You can also find Migration Assistant in the Utilities folder inside your Applications folder in the Finder. Opening Migration Assistant closes all apps on your Mac, and you won't be able to use anything but Migration Assistant until the transfer is complete. Click Continue when you're ready. To allow Migration Assistant to access your files, enter your administrator password when prompted. This is the password needed to install software updates and might be the same password you use to log in to your Mac. Then, click OK. Migration Assistant asks how you would like to transfer the information on this Mac. Select to another Mac and click Continue. On your new Mac, when asked where you want to transfer information from, select the icon for your old Mac and then click Continue. A 6-digit code appears on your new Mac and your old one. Confirm that they match, and then click Continue on your old Mac. On your new Mac, Migration Assistant calculates how much storage space is used by all of your information, including applications, user accounts, files, folders, and settings. Wait for the calculation to complete, and then select what you want to transfer. You can also click the arrow next to a category to select specific items within it. Click Continue to proceed. You'll be asked to create an administrator password, which can be the same password you used to log into your old Mac and to install software updates. Click Set Password and enter the same password in both fields. Remember this password. You'll need it to log into the account on your new Mac. Click Set Password to continue. You might need to follow additional steps to transfer multiple user accounts. When a green check mark appears next to your account name, click Continue, and the transfer begins. Then, follow the prompts, which might include reviewing and accepting the terms and conditions in order to continue. If you agree, click Agree to confirm, and click Agree again to continue. It could take several hours for large transfers to complete, depending on the amount of data transferring. Leave both computers alone during the transfer process. On your new Mac, the screen might go black or dim, and the Apple logo and a loading bar might appear. This is normal. On your old Mac, once the transfer is complete, click Done in Migration Assistant. This Mac still has the same information it had before the transfer. Your new Mac automatically restarts, or click Restart Now to restart it manually. While your Mac is restarting, the screen goes black and the Apple logo appears. When it's finished, click Done. Now, all your important data is transferred to your new Mac. Using the password you created earlier, you can log in and complete the setup process. And that's how to transfer your data with Migration Assistant. Some sequences in this video were shortened.
Okay, are there any comments or questions?
I have a question
Yeah.
and a comment. In using migration, one of the things that did not transfer all of the information was for passwords from a MacBook Pro to an iMac. Is it possible to send those again or to do another like using your USB then to transfer or to copy and then put them into the new Mac?
You can turn on in your account, you can turn on sync your passwords, like you can do contacts, you can do calendars, and one of the things you can do is passwords and let it synchronize it. You're not, it would be complicated to extract them out of the old computer. You have to export them out and then import them in.
Okay.
Be easier to let it sync. I don't
Sync
know
it.
why it wouldn't have done that. It should have done that.
It should have, but I'm finding dozens that didn't.
Huh.
And it's ones that I haven't used very frequently. I might use them once a year. All the ones that were active, very active, passed
Are you
over.
using iCloud?
No, well, the passwords would be up in iCloud, but they are not because I did not have the MacBook Pro to the iCloud.
Yeah, well, do that and it'll probably sync.
Okay. Thank you.
Also, I wouldn't do it the way that she said. This is a new thing where you side by side, like the phone, you put them side by side and let Wi-Fi do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it with a time machine directly cable connected. It would be much faster
Oh, okay.
than try to do it over Wi-Fi.
Okay. That I can do.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cable does tend to be a lot faster than.
Also, she didn't say how old the old computer would be to support this Wi-Fi migration feature. I have no idea. I've never tried it.
Okay.
Usually some people have a computer that's like 10 years old or something, and that probably wouldn't work, probably wouldn't be supported.
Anything else? Okay, the next video is from Mac Rumors. It's about hidden features on the iPhone that you didn't know existed, or so they say. These are tips for iOS 26.
If you have an iPhone with an action button, you can turn it into a customizable share sheet. One press and hold can bring up your favorite shortcuts, like searching messages, adding a task, opening ChatGPT, or even toggling silent mode. And that's just one of the tips in this video. You can also turn reminders into real alarms, use your AirPods as a camera remote, highlight specific lines when sharing links, and even fix Apple's frustrating messages search. So these are 10 iPhone tips and tricks that will actually make your iPhone smarter than ever before. Not sure if you knew this, but it is 2026 and we can finally change the snooze duration for alarms. That's right. You're no longer limited to 9 minutes and 9 minutes only. You can actually choose anywhere from 1 to 15 minutes now by simply tapping snooze duration the next time you create an alarm. If you're someone who creates thousands of alarms, maybe 15 minutes apart, you no longer have to do that. Just keep tapping snooze if you set it to that 15-minute duration. And while we're on the topic of alerts, if you set a reminder that needs something more attention-grabbing, you can now put an actual alarm on a reminder in iOS 26. So just go into Reminders, create one, and then tap the eye or information icon. And under Date and Time, you'll see a new urgent option. Go ahead and toggle that on, and it will now set an alarm for whatever time that you decide to choose. Now, one thing to note, it will play on whatever device your Find My location is set to, so make sure that's correct. Mine is not, which is why you see Dan's iPad. I really hope Apple will eventually let us choose the device manually, but this is already a huge upgrade for those who want that extra, reminder boost with an alarm. If your battery life is struggling, head into Settings, then Battery, and turn on Adaptive Power Mode. It learns your usage habits and adjusts performance in the background to stretch battery life throughout the day. And if things are getting really rough, you can actually turn off background app refresh, which could probably eat up a little bit of battery here. And so you can turn it off for specific apps, or you can set it to Wi-Fi only, or disable it entirely. Some small changes here can really make a big difference in your battery. Now, if your Messages app is blowing up or your security camera keeps sending motion alerts, like mine keeps doing, you don't have to turn off notifications for that app entirely. Just swipe on the notification, tap Options, and you can mute it for either 1 hour or the entire day. Or if you don't need notifications for that app entirely, you can just turn it off. If you hate the new full screen screenshot preview in iOS 26 and you just want the classic thumbnails back, you can actually go back to it. Just go to Settings, General, Screen Capture, and toggle off full screen preview. You still get markup and visual lookup by just tapping the thumbnail, and then you can long press to share it instantly. And here's a bonus tip. If you take screenshots while connected to CarPlay, you might notice that it captures the CarPlay screen as well. You don't always need that, if ever. I don't. So you can actually go ahead and in that same menu option here, you'll see CarPlay screenshots. Just go ahead and toggle that off entirely. Another quick bonus tip, if you just got an iPhone 17 Pro or Pro Max, check out channel sponsor Dbrand's new Ghost Case 2.0. I'll leave it linked in the description down below. If you've ever wanted to send someone a link to an article, but make them focus on one specific sentence, you can now highlight text and choose Copy Link with Highlight. When they open the link, it will actually jump directly to that highlighted section. If you send it in the Messages app, it'll actually show you the preview of that highlighted section. This is insanely useful for sharing research. Maybe you have a specific piece of an article that you want to send or whatever, or you're proving a point to somebody, you can go ahead and have the reference backed up with it. If you listen to podcasts at 1.5 or maybe 2 times the speed, but just for a very specific show, maybe one just kind of goes really slow. Maybe it's me on the Mac Rumors Show podcast, which by the way, you can check out. I'll leave it linked in the description. But if you go to the show's homepage, tap on the ellipsis in the top right corner, tap Settings, scroll, and speed adjustments is all the way down at the bottom here. And you can actually choose to customize for that specific show. Now, each podcast can have its own speed setting. Did you know your AirPods can act as a camera shutter? If you go into your AirPod settings under the settings menu, scroll down to camera control and toggle on camera remote. You can now take photos or even start and stop video recording by just a simple press or a press and hold. But do know that if you use the press and hold option, listening mode and Siri gestures won't work while you're shooting. But this is perfect for group photos or even a, setup with your tripod like what I have here. Now, this next one is a game changer. Finding a specific word or message in the Messages app can be nearly impossible sometimes. There's a shortcut that you can add that will completely fix this. And don't freak out. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can just go ahead and download the shortcut. It'll all be ready to be made for you. But when you activate it, you simply type in the word that you're searching for, and it instantly pulls up every conversation that includes it. And then once you find what you need to, you can go ahead and tap on that message, and it'll take you right to that exact moment in the Messages app. I know that you can search inside of the Messages app, but I feel like Apple's is just declining. I can barely find the things that I need these days, and this one is nearly 100% accurate. Huge shout out to Stephen Robles for sharing this one on Twitter. I came across it the other day. If you want to get into shortcuts more, he has an excellent channel that does a lot of great shortcuts content, so highly recommend checking that out. And speaking of shortcuts, if you have an iPhone with the action button, you should be absolutely using it for more than just silent mode or whatever the options that Apple has. And you should use it with shortcuts. So go into the Shortcuts app, create a folder, name it something like Action Button, and add your favorite shortcuts to it. Then go to Settings, Action Button, choose Shortcuts, and select that folder. Now, every time you press and hold the Action Button, you get sort of like a share sheet option with a bunch of the included shortcuts. So for me, I have that Messages shortcut that I was talking about, adding a task in Todoist, opening up ChatGPT, or just getting your silent mode option back here if you want to, and you can add in whatever you need. So those are the 10 iPhone tips and tricks that I think will genuinely make your phone more powerful in 2026. Some of these are small quality of life upgrades and improvements, but when you stack them together, your iPhone just feels smarter and more tailored to you. But let me know in the comments down below what tip you might have, and maybe I'll include it in the next video. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this in the future. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.
He talks pretty fast.
He goes really fast.
Yeah.
He does get his money's worth.
Yeah. If you go ahead and save the links to these videos, the ones that have been posted in the chat, you can go ahead and just click on one of the links, his link, Mac Rumors one, and be able to view that video and start and stop it and whatever. So I myself would not be able to remember how did he say to do that? Anyway, any other comments or questions? Okay,
If it's playing directly from YouTube, you can always change the speed with which he speaks.
very good point. You can make it slower or faster.
Or my favorite, just hit the stop button and pause it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I have one more video. This one is by Ellen Sweeney of Ellen's Tips, and it has to do with functionality on the iPad in OS 26.1. So let's go ahead and listen to Ellen.
Hey everyone, Ellen from Ellen's Tips for iOS. Today we're talking about something iPad users really cared about in iOS 18. Split view and slide over multitasking. Many people were frustrated when these classic modes changed, and now Apple is bringing them back, kind of. Let's get started. For years, iPads had multitasking features like split view, where two apps sit side by side, and slide over, where a small app floats over another. These were super helpful for reading email while browsing or checking messages while taking notes. But with iPadOS 26, Apple introduced a new windowed multitasking system that dropped the traditional split view and slide over modes. That change did not go well with a lot of iPad users. When iPadOS 26 launched, slide over vanished and the familiar split view was gone too, replaced by a more flexible but different looking windowing system. User reactions online showed a lot of frustration. I don't need 5 windows. I just want split screen. Slide over was perfect for quick peeks. Now it's gone. The response wasn't universal. Some loved the new system, but many people missed those simpler multitasking tools. The good news in iOS 26.1, Apple has brought back the slide over window. Split view is still there. It's just a little bit different than it was in iOS 18. So let's talk a little bit about split view and then I'll move into slide over. So to get 2 apps into split view, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the Chrome app. And now I'm going to swipe up from the bottom so that I can open another app. And this is a Pittsburgh sports app that I have. I'm just going to open that up. If I slide it to the right, I can drop it here. I can also slide it to the left. I'll slide to the right and drop it. And you'll see that both of these apps are now using 50% of the screen. You'll see this gray bar in the middle, and that allows me to drag the apps and resize them to what I want. So I can drag Google Chrome to 75% of the screen and the sports app to 25, or vice versa. I can drag the Google app to 25 and the sports app to 75. I'm going to bring it back to the middle. I can also resize these apps by grabbing the gray toolbar at the bottom here, and I can kind of drag that toolbar and it will change that particular app. I'm going to go ahead and just bring it back to full screen so that both apps are now at 50-50. But just remember that you can resize those apps, and you weren't really able to do that in iOS 18. But so this is what split view looks like in iPadOS 26.1. Now, if I want to bring an app into slide over, I'm going to swipe up from the bottom of the screen. I'm going to drag my Mail app and just drag it up and drop it. And you'll see right now it's covering that app. If I want to get that into slide over, I'm going to push and hold on the yellow, green, and red dot in the upper left corner. You'll see the option here for enter slide over. I'll go ahead and do that, and the slide over window appears. I can drag it to the other side of the screen if I want to. I can also drag it off the screen. You'll see a little arrow appear and then it'll disappear. I can slide from the edge of the screen back and it'll bring that slide over window. I can drag it to the other side. If I want to, I can resize this window so I can make it less tall. I can increase vertically. I can also drag it horizontally. So I can make this slide over window any size I want, basically, which you were unable to do in iOS 18. I'm sorry, iPadOS 18. So it just kind of makes your Windows system a little bit better, I think. Maybe you don't, but a lot of people were angry when slide over disappears. But now in iPadOS 26.1, slide over, split view are both back. So that's the story of split view and slide over in iPadOS 26.1, why people miss them and how slide over is back again. Classic split view hasn't fully returned yet like folks hoped, but Apple is listening and evolving multitasking. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Wow.
That was a little choppy again for me.
Oh, really? Wow. Anybody else having choppy reception?
It was good over here.
Yeah, it was good over here.
Okay.
Here.
Seemed good here.
All right.
Okay.
I think that
Anyhow,
might just be her speech pattern.
She has an interesting style.
Yes.
yeah, to compare her with the previous speaker with
Definitely.
great. Wow, yeah.
She's
So,
almost lyrical.
yeah.
I don't know what kind of accent she has.
Pennsylvania.
Yep.
She mentioned Pittsburgh.
Is that right?
Yeah, she had a Pittsburgh sports thing on there or something.
Yeah, I want to go to
Pennsylvania.
forget the sports. I want to go to the bakery.
Okay, let's end the screen share.
Okay.
Can I comment?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm wondering, why would Apple take away a feature? I don't use the iPads and I don't do this, but why would Apple take away a feature that people obviously would want?
Because they changed they've been trying to do this multi-screen, and they changed over to the windowing thing where you can make it into windows and overlap and resize them. They changed it to more like a Mac with menus and everything else. And some of the people got used to doing this other thing, so they put it back.
Ellen seems to have a way
they
that,
listened.
yeah, she seems to be able to make it work.
Sharon's raising her hand in the.
Yeah, Sharon.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I don't have an iPad, but I have sat next to one. I just take a library computer class, and this lady has an iPad next to the Chromebooks that we're using. How is Ellen sliding? Does she use a cursor, keys?
I think she just puts her finger on the window and slides it on the
On
iPad.
the touch screen. Okay.
On the touch
Thanks.
screen, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone.
Okay. I'm trying to learn it, so thank you.
Any other comments or questions about the presentation? And we'll end this recording and move. You can have general Q&A questions. Okay, so here we go. DVMUG members who are watching this, you know the drill. You can get the link for the next video, which is not public, on the DVMUG BBS if you want to watch the Q&A. Okay, I'm going to stop this.